Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the threeohtake, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Oh, welcome back to the threeohtake, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 461. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
That's me. Good to meet you. Welcome back.
It's a pleasure.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the party. It's we got a good one today, or what?
Can I be honest with you? Do you know how hard it was for me to just not make this an hour and a half session talking about how much I love backyard baseball?
I wasn't aware until you put that TikTok out. It's back. It's coming back. It's
The
being re-released.
self-control that it took me to actually compile notes about actual things happening in Major League Baseball right now and not just talking about backyard baseball. To answer your question, yes, all of the what I would imagine is from what I could tell, all the sports are back. Or going to be back when that time comes. We don't need to get into it right now, but I just wanted off the top here to throw out the fact that it was a challenge.
Can it be done on your phone? Like, there's got to be.
We're gonna get into
curious.
it. We're gonna get into it, but
All right.
I'm a proud owner of a Switch now.
That's true.
So that's
Good
going to
point.
be a game changer. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it's going to be a good episode today. We got some
Got the juice?
somewhat positive news here throughout. We got we're going to be talking some changes in postseason odds. Well, good news for some of those teams. We're going to be talking World Baseball Classic pools have been released. We're talking new front runner for National League Rookie of the Year. Some bad news for Braves fans, though.
Typical. Par for the course.
Not the year for the Braves. Some names have been released, although I think some of these were pretty predictable. And then just some good old fashioned backyard baseball talk. And then I did have a random question for you towards the end. Wanted to get your thoughts on a pitcher. Your top three pitchers you'd give the ball to in a postseason game right now.
I'll start cooking that up.
But that's just a teaser. We're going to get into that here shortly. Right off the top, though, let's talk about the shift in the narrative surrounding the postseason bracket, because it's getting to be a mess right now.
It's getting nuts.
Getting a little cluttered. Some of these races are getting awfully close. And some of the teams in the mix have fallen from grace. Yeah. Some have ascended to glory.
That's what we say about August, right? You know?
I mean, we talk about how much we hate the month of August, but I can't lie. It's been a month of
September's
activity.
Primed.
So yeah, August has been a month of activity, and to your point, it is perfectly set up what I think is going to be a very interesting month of September. Although, how much do we think at this rate? Is it going to dictate anything at this point other than seeding? Because I feel like the playoff picture,
I feel like
is getting awfully clear. Like it's still fuzzy, but I think September
it's just the order.
Right. It's just going to be a determination of seeding.
Yeah.
At this rate.
I think that's fair. I think some have said that August is like preheating the oven. You know what I mean? That's what we're doing. We're just preheating. September we'll be cooking it up.
All right. So talking about the changes in postseason odds, because I tell you what, if you looked at this visually on a graph, you're seeing some lines on that graph just plummet. And you're also seeing some just kick it up a notch for a handful of teams. And I have a list here the 5 worst changes in postseason odds since the All-Star break, and then I have the 5 best changes in postseason odds since the All-Star break.
Okay.
And I intentionally told you not to do any digging around.
You know me.
For the sole
the big
reason,
researcher is what they call me.
For the big researcher, you've always doing research, doing research. No, I'll give you credit. I'm not even going to knock you. You've turned a stone in that regard.
Not today.
Not today. Well, like I said, I intentionally told you not to do any digging around because I wanted to get your thoughts, or your guesses, I should say, on these teams.
Okay.
So we're going to start. We're going to get the negative out of the way.
Okay.
At the start of today, name the 5 teams that have the worst change in postseason odds since the All-Star break.
The worst change. So we're not saying like these aren't the worst teams. It's like odds look good, then All-Star break. Since now, odds have reversed. They've flipped. Odds
Correct. Not the worst odds as of today, but since the All-Star break, which teams have witnessed the worst changes in their respective postseason odds since the All-Star break? Specifically, I want to say it was like, I think I typed in like July 18th, but it's all the same because they weren't playing. So
give me the Mariners.
The Mariners.
There's the button. There it is. Okay.
Sorry, man. I had to scroll. The soundboard's got a lot of sounds on it.
What was that out of the 5 worst? Who are they? Are they like
Mariners at number 1?
Mariners are the number 1 worst.
Mariners at number 1
drop
at
off.
minus 42.1%.
That's tough. Give me the Rays. Tough. That's tough. Let's move along. Give me the Cardinals.
Cardinals in second at minus 39.7%.
Good. This is tough, man. It's real tough. Why do I want to stay in the Central? Why do I want to say Cubs? Dang it. I don't want to say that.
I love watching you wait with bated breath. You're like, what sounds coming?
This really is just straight guessing.
Well, to put it in perspective, though, I'm not trying to give any hints or clues away here, but as I said, the playoff picture as it stands right now is relatively clear in terms of teams. We're just lacking the seeding because the margin of error and the distance between these respective teams are so razor thin. And so we're really just waiting out the seeding. But a lot of these teams, I feel like we've been discussing as of late and either kind of stuck a fork in.
I think I'm going to do well on the best. I think I'm going to do well.
I think so too.
Give me the Reds. Dang it.
You've got the top 2 teams as it stands right now, the Mariners and the Cardinals.
I just don't feel like the Red Sox are far enough out of it. I'm going to say Red Sox.
The Red Sox at number 5 have seen their worst, the 5th worst change in postseason odds as of today at negative 15.5%. So you have 3 of the 5 teams.
Mets? All right.
4 out of 5. The Mets coming in at number 3 at negative 24.6%. 3rd worst change in postseason odds since the break. Although, don't tell that to Mets fans because I think there's a fraction of Mets fans that are still holding out hope. Their scoreboard operator, which I don't know if you saw that post, their scoreboard operator put out the Idris Elba meme. I want you to tell the world that we're back up with the Mets hat on, photoshopped. put that up on the scoreboard today after the walk-off against the O's.
Crazy.
I'm not going to say that I'm about it, but I'm kind of about it.
Crazy.
That's an excellent use of that meme. It's in my collection, I will say. You're missing one more.
I know.
The fourth team on the list. You've got the Mariners at 1, the Cardinals at 2, the Mets at 3, the Red Sox at 5. Who is holding down that fourth spot for worst change in postseason odds since the break?
I already said the Twins, right?
You did not say the Twins.
Let's go Twins. All right. Is this like an obvious one? Am I
Without giving away too much, I feel like there was some optimism. I mean, obviously, there was some optimism for this team given the fact that they've fallen, but this is one of the teams I feel like we have discussed as of late. Maybe not as much, but we have certainly included in our conversations for good reason. But I think they're running out of steam. I think they've hit a wall, and I think might be toast. Knocking on the door of getting a fork put in them. We'll just say that.
What the heck, dude?
I can give you a hint if you'd like.
Rangers. Give me a hint.
It's a National League team.
Giants? Damn it.
I mean, at this point, I don't know how many teams are left in the league.
Yeah, just send it.
No luck? No, you're out of
Pirates.
guesses?
Pirates. All right.
Coming in at number 4 on the list, the Pirates at minus 16.5%. Of the teams on that list, are there any that jump out at you? Are there any that are you feel maybe aren't deserving? I mean, not the percentages, the projections say one thing, but are there any teams rather that you would say something other to?
I don't know if I fully follow that question.
The projections say that these teams, like based on record, based on remaining strength of schedule, however this formula is calculated, this is what the list says for the top 5. Mm-hmm. However, are there any on this list that you don't necessarily feel belong on this list, or that you haven't quite given up hope yet for the postseason?
No.
Really? Because you guessed the Red Sox, and you said you don't genuinely feel as though they're completely out of it yet.
Yeah, I just numbers wise, 3.5 back of the last wild card spot.
You're just saying process of elimination, of the teams. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But like I think like 3.5 in a month, like that's doable still. Like it's definitely still doable. I just think when you look at like, it's basically just the Royals that they're really like, right? Like for that last spot, isn't there quite a bit of a gap? I'm not even looking at standings right now. This is crazy. It's just all guessing.
I mean, the Central is still up for grabs. So like the Twins are still in the mix as it stands right now. The AL wild card and the Red Sox already have played today, but as it stands right now, they are 3 games back of the last wild card spot. But the Twins and Royals are tied behind the O's.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just like the Red Sox I feel like, and you can back me on this, I feel like I could pat them on the back for being in this position in the first place, just because of preseason expectations And just seeing kind of the way they started and how it was, April and May, it's just like, I think this is pretty decent.
I did come across an article today that said something to the effect of the Red Sox are fading, which was their 2024 destiny all along, or something to that effect.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
but they're fading later than I think everyone would have expected.
Yeah, that's fair. And I'm not giving up quite yet. The bullpen is atrocious. That has to be fixed for even the slightest chance of
I think a lot of teams could retweet that.
I mean, but on paper, the worst bullpen in baseball, I believe, since the break. So it just horrendous. But yeah, to your point, I think the rest of the teams on that list, maybe put a little bit of a fork in.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears to the best here. You said you think you're going to do much better on the best list.
I feel good here. I feel good.
The top 5 teams who have seen the best change in postseason odds since the All-Star break.
Give me the Diamondbacks.
The second team on the list, the Diamondbacks at 49.7%.
That's a big jump. Big jump. What are they like? Something crazy, dude. It was like 27-6 or something like that.
The D-backs are hot. And they're in the hunt for the division crown. They're only 4 back as it stands right now. Don't rule out the D-backs going for the division.
Here's a tough guess because I don't know if they started making their push before the deadline. So I don't know how big of a jump it is.
The break.
Yeah, like our break, but I don't know how big of a jump it is percentage-wise. I just feel like the Astros have gotten after it. No? Yeah!
The Houston Astros, the 4th best change in postseason odds since the break, coming in at 32.8%. So you currently have the 2nd and the 4th teams on the list of the top 5.
What you don't want is, if you're a Mariners fan, to be on the first list and the Astros to be on the second list. That's a bad combo.
That is a direct correlation.
Yeah. Yep. Give me the Padres.
The Padres, number 1 on the list of best change in postseason odds since the break, coming in at 57.3%.
Dece.
Padres are making a lot of people look stupid right now. Nothing's happened yet. Nothing has been earned yet. But the push that they are making a lot of people eat their words from back in April.
It's true. They really shored up that bullpen. Did you see that the other day, that Profar, like 8th inning, 3-run home run? Just never out of it. It's crazy. Royals.
Kansas City Royals, 3rd on the list at 40.7. Not what you want to hear as a Red Sox fan, but it's all right.
Only uno más.
You have the Padres, you have the D-backs, you have the Royals, and you have the Astros. Who is the 5th team that has seen the best change in their postseason odds since the break? I feel like you can get this.
You think? Just go 5 for 5 piece.
Can he do it? Can he go 5 for 5?
Biggest jump?
I've got my finger on the correct button. I'm fully anticipating you going for 5 for 5 here. Don't let me down.
Give me the Brewers.
That's impressive. That's
Let's
impressive.
go.
The Brewers coming in at 5th on the list at 16.1%. I don't know about you, but the way that list is ordered, best change in postseason odds since the break: Padres, D-backs, Royals, Astros, Brewers. That makes sense to me. Although, if I'm being quite honest, I would almost put the Astros at the top.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. I think we go back further than the break.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest jump. Because didn't the Mariners have like a 10-game lead at one point?
Squandered it.
Oh,
well, the Astros, I believe, were 10 games under at one point. I think, wasn't that like a month into the season? Like they fell off a cliff early, fast and early. And then the Mariners just coasted along and then tailed off. Mm-hmm. And then, as predicted,
then the inevitable happened.
The Astros came back.
Unbelievable.
Unreal. But yeah, the Padres, dude.
Padres, I'm proud of the Diamondbacks. I am.
The NL West as a whole right now, like I know we've talked about it, but that is shaping out to be a very, very exciting race. And not to mention, like you just sprinkling some names like Corbin Carroll for one is, I would venture to say, safe to say, back.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dodgers are just going to be the bully that these teams are after.
Yeah.
That's been the case all year, but I mean,
just talk about like even like weird stuff like Christian Walker going down and Josh Bell coming in and like hitting right away. Jake McCarthy has come onto the scene and just seemed like he's kind of overtaken Alek Thomas's spot. Gurriel continues to do what Gurriel does. It's just like you got Erod back at the right time to go make a push. Like I think they're just well equipped. The Brewers, I don't know how much of the Brewers I want to credit. I think they've done a good job. I'm really impressed with what they're doing offensively because that's never the story. And when you talk about the names that left and they got rid of between Burns and Hader and like stuff like that, but like I don't know how much of it is associated with like how or like the correlation between how good they've been in their gap or like how bad the rest of the division has been. You know what I mean? Like the rest of the division is super unimpressive.
No, I'm with you. I think it's a combination of both. I think it's time for us to finally give the Brewers, and I say us, I say we, because I think you and I, mostly you, but I'm going to include myself in that. I just generally have not been excited by the Brewers brand of baseball for honestly years at this point. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I don't know if it's maybe because where they play, like maybe for the Brewers, the whole coast bias thing comes into play because I just feel like they're smack dab in the middle of the country. So like maybe some teams that are closer to the coast, but not quite on the coast. It's like, okay,
it's just weird.
It's just, there's just something about Milwaukee baseball that just does not move the needle for me. And I think you could say that for a lot of people, except Brewers fans, probably.
I think one can argue it's a good time to be a Milwaukee sports fan. You know what I mean? Like the Bucks are always in the conversation. The Packers seem to be coming back with a vengeance.
You would know this, didn't they? Just lock down Jordan Love for
highest paid QB in the league, man.
I mean, what are we doing here? It's a great time to be alive as a Milwaukee sports fan.
It's a big old cheesehead out there. You're living life.
But to finish my thought, though, I think it's time to give the Brewers some credit, but also recognize that the rest of the division just
stinks.
Just sucks.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I do agree. I do concur.
I think you and I were both a little higher on the Cardinals, and there for a minute it was looking not half bad, and then they were just like, "Yep, okay, we're on to 2025 for some reason."
They're really confusing.
Makes no sense to me. But anyway,
speaking of,
yeah,
they are who we thought they were. You know, I mean, like, have a better deadline.
Speaking of seasons to come, let's look ahead real quick to 2026.
To Houston?
To Houston.
You and me?
We got some other current events to get back to, but we went pretty heavy there on some postseason odd changes. So let's just take a quick little break. Let's talk some World Baseball Classic 2026. The pools have officially been released. And I got to say, the juices, they were a-flowing. It's almost as if I picked right back up where I left off. Well, sans the Japan showing the U.S. to the door in the championship.
Yeah.
That was kind of a buzzkill, but
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's Mike Trout in a big moment. What can you really do?
Yeah.
No knock on Mike Trout. Just calling it like I see it.
Slight knock.
The pools, as I mentioned, though, have been announced. You got Pool A with Puerto Rico, Cuba, Canada, Panama. And it says qualifier. I'm assuming that just like
Whoever gets in, yeah.
right, just a team that has yet TBD.
Yeah.
Canada was in our bracket, correct? Last year?
Yep.
In place of Italy, I think, because Pool B, you have the U.S., Mexico, Italy, Great Britain, and a qualifier. I don't recall Italy in our bracket last year. It was Canada, correct?
Yeah.
And then who was the qualifier? Or I said last year. I meant 2023.
Venezuela?
You might be right. I think it was Venezuela.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. And then Pool C, you got Japan, Australia, Korea, the Czech, and a qualifier.
So I think if you win a game, you qualify, right? Like if you won a game in your last WBC, just one dub gets you back. Right?
Is that how that works?
I feel like that's how it works.
Well, Pool D, you got
so you
Venezuela.
you don't have to requalify basically.
Pool D. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like the
Yeah.
teams that are in already.
Like an automatic bid if you won last. If you just won a game from last time.
Yeah. Pool D, you've got Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Netherlands, Israel, and a qualifier. Although, I don't know. I don't know why Aruba comes to mind. Didn't Aruba win a game? I feel like Aruba won a game. Did they not? Wouldn't they be in?
Did they win?
I mean, we're talking Xander Bogaerts here. Of those pools, though, which of those? Or no, he was Team Netherlands. What am I saying?
That's what I thought. Because Aruba's technically no, that's Curacao. I think that's like I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
think
Team
you get to do
Netherlands
both.
at the World Baseball Classic. Yeah, in Mexico City. I remember watching that game. I thought they won a game. Would that? Oh,
I
guess
could be wrong about this qualifier. I don't know.
That's possible. Which of these pools gets you excited?
I don't know how I feel, but I think just going off of right this second, right, meow. I'm gonna say that I like that that Puerto Rico and the DR are separate now. I think they were in the same pool last time, right? Because they were both in Miami. They kind of beat up on each other.
Yeah.
I like that they're separate because I want to see them like deeper into this thing, facing each other. I think it's fair they run through Pool D, though. Pool C, Japan's going to run through. I think overall, Pool A probably is like the most competitive pool.
I also like Pool A. Yeah,
Cuba's going to put up a fight. Canada will sneaky put up a fight. And I think, like maybe Mo comes out of retirement and pitches for Panama. That'd be cool.
Speaking of retirement. It's not exactly happy news. But that is the breaking news song that I've compiled, so you just kind of have to go with it. But speaking of
dance
retirement,
in the back.
Joey Votto has officially announced his retirement. I think we all saw this coming. But it has been made official. He announced on his Instagram moments ago. He's hanging it up.
Maybe he'll come back out and play for Canada.
Maybe he'll finally take us up on the offer to join the fantasy league that we invited him to last offseason.
Seriously.
But he said, no, I'm going to give it another go with the Jays. Sorry. We're like, all right. I mean,
yeah, this should have happened a while ago. Should have called it when you were still a Red. This has been a weird little story. I think we got excited for like a split second in spring training.
Yeah, there was a moment where we're like, maybe he can still bang. Not the case. An instance of a guy that I think, and I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, this person should retire, that person should stick it out. Like these guys are going to go out when they're going to go out. They want to go out on their own terms. Who am I to say otherwise? But Joey Votto, I feel like, is one guy, and we're going to hopefully touch on another later in the episode, just briefly. Another guy that I feel like maybe should have called it quits with his original team rather than try to make I don't want to say a half-hearted go of it, but an attempt was made, but it didn't really pan out to much of anything. Referring to this other individual, Joey Votto is a different situation. But
Trying to figure out the other individual.
we'll get to it. But yeah, Joey Votto should have retired a Red, but a career nonetheless. Just running through some brief numbers here, right on the spot here. 2,135 hits. He amassed 356 home runs. Was a career 294 hitter. Had 1,144 RBIs. Had an OBP of 409, slug 511, with an OPS of 920, and finished with an OPS plus of 144. Was an MVP. Was a 6-time All-Star and a Gold Glove winner. Heck of a career.
Hall of Great. Hall of Great.
I don't know, man. There's people online at this very second saying next stop, Cooperstown.
Hall of Great.
Hall of Great. Speaking of which, where do you think the Hall of Great would be? Like, where would be a good location for Hall of Great?
I don't know, like Iowa.
No, they've already got the Field of Dreams there.
So we just need like a random place that doesn't already have
something
ties.
Correct. Thought that was obvious.
Hall of Great.
Give me like San Jose or something. Just put it in San Jose.
Put it in Oklahoma.
Either or.
What else we got going there, you know?
That's where Mickey Mantle was born and raised. No?
It's true. It's true.
I think I like San Jose better, if I'm being honest with you. Hall of Very Good. San Jose, California. I'm about it.
Let's go Alabama.
I just feel like San Jose is the perfect combination of random but still somewhat notable. I mean, they do have a professional sports franchise there, no? The Sharks. Still reside in San Jose.
No idea. I think so. Let's go hockey.
Hall of Great in Galveston, Texas. Don't you dare do Nolan Ryan like that. And Nate Eovaldi, if I'm not mistaken. Don't diminish those careers by putting the Hall of Great in Galveston, Texas. Unreal.
Heard there's some tough beaches in Galveston.
Are there?
I don't know. I can't. I think it's pretty rough. It's like a canal of.
That's isn't that what Chuck was talking about on NBA TNT?
Yeah.
Some women in Galveston or something. Or am I thinking of somewhere else? Wasn't it Galveston?
I think it was Galveston.
I think it was Galveston.
It's rough. It's
San Antonio, I think.
I think it's a rough beaches out there. Stinky water. I don't know. That's just what I've heard.
Threw some shade at San Antonio too. Yeah. Yeah. San Jose has my vote.
Olive great. Joey Votto.
Wrapping up our thoughts here on WBC. In terms of plans for you and I,
We're going to Houston.
we're going to Houston.
I've never been to Minute Maid, so I'm super down.
Never been either. I've heard, if I'm being honest with you, and
Let's
if there's
go
any
Crawford boxes.
if there's any Astros fans listening, I do apologize in advance, but it's just what I've heard. I've heard that Houston's not a great city.
I've also heard.
If I'm being honest,
I've been in the airport. Didn't love it. Personally. Didn't love it.
I mean, maybe we'll just be kind of confined to the.
I think it took me like 45 minutes to get my Wendy's, and that's probably like a lot of where my mind's at with the vote.
That seems like an unfair bias, but bias nonetheless that I think is valid.
45 minutes is, it's a tough time.
You're hungry, you're trying to get your food.
Need that Baconator,
Maybe a Frosty. If you got to wait 45 minutes, you're not leaving there happy.
Yeah. But I'm down. Let's go. Let's get it.
I mean, the WBC as a whole, although, hear me out. Do we forego the pool play since we've done that?
We go to
and maybe go to Miami.
Yeah, we probably do that then.
Because you get the semis and the championship. And it would be a different, I haven't been to Lone Depot.
I know. I'm kind of over that. When are they going to?
I'm kind of over it too, but I just feel like it would be a different, that'd be a different level.
Let's go to Miami.
Although you would just have to know for certain that the U.S. is getting there. And there'd be no way of knowing that for sure. You'd like to think their odds are pretty good.
Oh, that's true. Otherwise we'd never get U.S. Yeah.
Which, I mean, maybe we just go either way. It would be nice to have the U.S. there, but I mean, you would imagine
we would get like Japan, DR.
Yeah, you're gonna get some high leverage, high quality baseball there nonetheless. So maybe we just plan to do that.
Ooh, and then obviously, spring training, the same time. That's a no-brainer. We're going to Florida. We're going to Florida.
There you go. Decision's been made.
Yeah,
Houston will have to wait
a month.
Houston will have to wait for another time. All right, I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to seeing how this National League Rookie of the Year race shakes out. Jackson Merrill, according to FanDuel, has overtaken Paul Skeens as a new front runner for the National League Rookie of the Year. Paul Skeens was minus. You're the occasional better. This means very little to me.
Okay,
not entirely sure how this works. Seems rather steep from the little that I do know about odds. But it says Paul Skeens was minus 5,000 to win the National League Rookie of the Year about a month ago. And Jackson Merrill is now the minus 120 favorite to take home the award.
So that means you have to bet $5,000 to win 100.
No, so I understand that, but I'm saying in terms of like odds
that's obnoxious. It's
Paul Skeens was not that much of a lock a month ago, was he?
That's like a lock. That's like a absurd for sure lock. So I don't know why that's. I can see minus 500, but minus 5,000 is nuts.
It kind of makes sense though, if we're being honest, because, I mean, you got to remember there were people pulling for Paul Skeens. I mean, in addition to wanting him to start the All-Star game, there were people making cases for him to win the Cy Young. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, maybe we take a step back.
Yeah.
Kind of clear our glasses a little bit and look at it a little more clearly and go, maybe we, not you and I, but maybe collectively the baseball world was a little in over their heads on giving Paul Skeens a Cy Young.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Just a lot of hype going on there. But I think with like the Padres being in the hunt, I know this isn't a part of the equation, but it kind of is. The Padres being in the hunt, the Pirates not. I'm assuming there's going to be like a kind of a ramp down for Paul Skeens going forward the rest of the year. I've heard
that they're not shutting him down.
Freaking Harley Davidson out here.
Got a motorcycle rally outside your window?
Goodness, dude.
They're not shutting him down. I don't know.
think
I
it's
don't know
just
what
like
the plan is to.
I'm going to
wind it
go
down.
ahead and say there's going to be like a innings limit.
A tapering off.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, Jackson's been out of his mind. Every time I look at a Padres highlight, he's doing something. He's making a crazy, insane play in center. He's hitting like a go-ahead home run, a game-tying home run. He's just full hype, man, dude. Like, it's really good. And like, when you talk about a roster full of old guys, the youth that he's providing, yeah, I'm a fan.
And he's been doing it all year. He's played in 122 of the Padres' 127 games this year. And as you recall, was an all-star. All in the year, he's hitting 289 with 17 jacks, 69 ribbies, 13 bags, an 804 OPS, 124 OPS plus, and a 3.4 WAR. He has the highest F4 among all NL center fielders, all qualified NL center fielders. And since the break, since July 18th, is hitting 327 with 33 hits, 5 home runs, 23 RBIs, and 22 runs scored. So to your point, anytime you flip on, the Padres are on a tear right now.
Yeah.
It seems he is playing a huge part in this, huge part in this. And I don't feel like it's getting talked about enough. However, I do feel like, I don't know. It just goes back to how much people were in love with Paul Skeens, to where it's like, okay, if Jackson Merrill's been doing this all year, like if he's been putting up numbers worthy of this award all season, where was this dialogue earlier in the year?
Right.
I know Padres fans were protecting their boy. They were stating their case for him, and rightfully so.
For once, they were right. I mean, I feel like Padres fans are never right, but they were right here.
Well, let me ask you this. Who is your NL Rookie of the Year? As it stands right now, you got to sign the sheet.
Yeah, Jackson Merrill for sure.
Jackson Merrill.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. Did you see that thing? I think it was a week ago. It was really odd. Jackson Merrill, Jackson Holiday, and Jackson Trio all hit a triple.
I saw that.
That was wild.
That was
all
crazy.
Rookies, all on the same day, the same name.
What are the odds?
That's really strange. That's like really weird. Anyway, yeah, dude, I love what he's doing, man. I think he's, like I said, just this perfect, like, just energy boost and youth, and like, I love that they've given him a chance. This is what I freaking told you guys, dude. Mike Schilt deserves a lot more love and a lot more credit than he gets. And I'm going to go ahead and assume it's him, maybe a combination of him and Preller, that are like, you know what? From the jump, let's start this season. Let's let this kid just go. He broke camp with them, and they've given him a shot every day, written him into the lineup every day. It's so refreshing to see that. There's no like manipulation of time. There's no, tough skid for 2 weeks. Let's sit him down. Like, they've just let him play. And he's surrounded by vets. He's surrounded by professional hitters. He's surrounded by gold glovers. He's surrounded by like, really good clubhouse. I'm kind of high on the Padres, by the way. Not to go crazy here, but I'm feeling it.
I think we're shifting the narrative or flipping the narrative a little bit in that regard, because the Pirates have given us reason to doubt over the last handful of seasons, but this year there's just something a little different about the Padres. I can't explain what it is, but as I mentioned, whatever it is, Jackson Merrill is playing a huge part in it. Mm-hmm. For me, though, National League Rookie of the Year,
Churio's got to be in the conversation too.
For sure. Playing a big role in Milwaukee as well. But if I had to to put my name to an answer, like if I had to uphold the integrity of the selection, whatever selection process that would be, I feel like I would have to go Jackson Merrill.
Mm-hmm.
However, the fact that I'm seeing Paul Skeens slander all of a sudden in an effort to
that's not
push
necessary.
Jackson Merrill to the top of the vote getting, quote unquote. I'm not understanding where that's coming from, because 3-4 months ago, Paul Skeens was everywhere. He was all people were talking about, and he was giving you every reason to believe that he was the best pitcher in the league every time he took the mound. But now all of a sudden, the Padres are hot. The Pirates are tapering off a little bit, and then it's like that scene in Toy Story where Andy throws down Woody because he's got Buzz. He throws Woody in the box because he's got Buzz now. It's like,
great movie.
It's like, what do we do? I will not tolerate any Paul Skeens slander in an effort to uplift Jackson Merrill. We can appreciate both, and
Agreed.
we can partake in an exciting race for this award down the stretch. But we're not going to slander one in order to uplift the other. That's what
100%.
we're not going to do.
Oh, that's what our society does. So
That's fair. That's fair. Let's transition here. Unless you got any other thoughts on that particular race.
no.
Austin Riley is out 6 to 8 weeks.
What is in the freaking water in Atlanta, dude?
Will miss at least the rest of the regular season with a broken right hand. Was hit with a 97-mile-an-hour heater by none other than the Los Angeles Angels.
Ron Washington payback?
I don't know what's going on in Atlanta, dude. Like,
This is it's honestly insane.
my case, or my whole shtick about the Braves, even if you don't make the postseason, you got to finish ahead of the Mets. It's losing steam, because it's like we're getting to the point where
How many punches can you take?
we're talking about almost exclusively replacement level players here on the roster. Like,
you're talking about, like, if you were to have an all-star team, you could argue that a lot of these guys are starting the all-star game multiple times in their career. You know what I mean?
Are you saying on the IL for the Braves? Yeah. It's
like huge names. Like, there's only so much you can do. I think everyone in Atlanta has just moved on to the Falcons at this point. I think
it's understandable, but I mean, my goodness, how quickly they fell. What are they? They're riding a streak of like 6 straight division crowns.
Yeah,
Doesn't look like that's going to happen this year.
that's dead.
But
That's for sure dead.
In response to the news, they went and signed Gio Urshela. What are your thoughts on that? I know you've watched him play.
When
to
they
a degree.
signed him, I didn't even realize that the Tigers had released him. Silliness. Why didn't you trade him at the deadline? I know you got calls about him. Come on. You had to have gotten calls about him. I think he was having a pretty good year. Gio is something where, like, when you watch him move around, you're like, is Mans hurt? Does he have some bad toes? Is he just a heel runner only? But he makes some wizard plays at third base.
You've got an interesting little thing recently talking about the way people run.
Yeah,
more
that's
than
a weird
I think
one.
you ever have.
Dude looks hurt every time he's moving. He looks like he's hurting.
I have not forgotten the Jake Berger slander, and I don't think I will.
Terrible
anytime
trot.
soon.
Terrible trot.
Completely uncalled for.
Terrible.
But you like this pickup for the Braves?
Yeah.
As a placeholder?
Will arguably play better defense than Austin Riley. Not going to see the same offensive production, even though this year was somewhat of a down year for Riley. But yeah, that's a heck of a replacement. That's like a can give you productive everything around. He's going to do fine. You can ride him in the lineup when you're, fighting for your life in the wild card, and he's going to produce. I like Gio. I do.
Hector Neris Dom Smith and Brandon Crawford all released from their respective clubs. Hector Neris released from the Cubs, Dom Smith released from the Red Sox, and Brandon Crawford, the name that I alluded to earlier, who I felt should have just called it when he was with the Giants or let go from the Giants, has been released from the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think this was like hey, you did your job, molding and helping with our young kid, Mason Wynn. But Mason's been playing really well and pretty much playing every day for the most part. So I wonder if there was
mission accomplished, I guess.
Yeah, I would say thank you for your service. Take care, I wonder if there was maybe some kind of clause, play this many games, get a bonus. This many games, it gives you some, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, go sign a 1 day in the Bay. Throw your jersey up in the rafters. No one wants to wear 35 anyway. Isn't that what he wore?
35, yeah.
Yeah.
With the Giants, yeah.
Weird number for a shortstop, but you do you.
To each their own. Was hitting with the Cardinals, was hitting that's Matt Carpenter. They released him as a result of bringing Matt Carpenter back, but Crawford was hitting 169 with 1 home run and 4 RBIs and 80 plate appearances this year.
This was a coach on the field. I mean, this was again, help kind of mold a young Mason Wynn. Did your job.
Go sign your 1 day. Dom Smith, sort of predictable. Getting Tristan Casas back.
What was the weirdness around there was a big tweet about a huge slide at the plate last week or 2 weeks ago. Next thing you know, he's hitting the streets.
Well, I mean, they're not correlated at all, but yeah, the play you're talking about, ball gets past, I don't even remember where it was at. I think it was in Kansas City. Ball gets past the catcher. He hesitates, doesn't see that the ball's behind him, breaks for home. You think he's out by a mile, and then you slow it down. They take it to New York, and then you see the replay, and he's pulling this swim move, gets a hand in there, safe. The friggin' internet seems to blow up because it's Dom Smith of all people just lumbering home. Talking about guys that run sort of strange.
Tough.
Dom Smith's just lumbering home, beats the play.
Is crazy.
He's got, I mean, tell you what, when he gets into a ball, he puts a charge into it, but won't be doing that for the Red Sox anymore, given that Casas is back. So sort of predictable,
well, right?
Yeah, he was talking similar to Urshela. It's a guy that was filling in just fine and was really helping with morale, especially at a time where the Sox were giving you reason to believe okay, this end of the season may or could wind up a little different than seasons past.
I don't know what it is. We're gonna have to look into it eventually. But there had to have been something with a specific date in the year of if you carry this kind of salary into the next day, you know what I'm saying? Some type of tax avoidance or tax threshold avoidance here, because these are all common decent names and all being done at the same time. I think that has to do with that. Something to do with salary. Potentially with the September call-ups coming up. I don't know.
That was where my mind went to, is I don't know if there's a schedule structure in place in the league that maybe I just don't know about, that you have to kind of get the ball rolling on some of these personnel moves to prepare the roster and preparations for September call-ups. It's a possibility. Maybe not the sole reason, but that may play into it. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, these three have been dropped. Hector Neris.
I don't think he was even doing that bad with the Cubs, right? And there's some decimated bullpens out there right now.
Sure. I mean, he wasn't locked down by any stretch. He had his ups and downs, but
he's
I think
a 6th, 7th inning guy.
Yeah, I think the Cubs
any decent pen.
Yeah, for sure. I would think so. But yeah, these are three of the somewhat noteworthy names to be released. I'm sure more will take place in the coming days.
Why do I feel like the Orioles are going to go snag him?
I'll tell you what, dude.
See what Kimbrel did in the 7th today?
Have you seen what Kimbrel's done all year? Dude has been up and down. I mean, classic Kimbrel fashion, but like as of late, they are ready to send him to the moon.
Yeah, I know. Sir Anthony Dominguez doesn't look much better. Gave up the walk-off today, right?
Was that him? I think it was.
Jesse Winker. Wild walk-off celebration by Jesse Winker. That was insane.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Where do we draw the line?
That's what I said. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I said I still maintain my take from years ago. I said it on this very podcast. I said I still maintain my take from years ago that in our lifetime we will see a walk-off home run result in someone stripping down completely naked.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that?
Like started the trot, stopped the trot, yeeted the helmet, ripped off.
Started the trot, stopped, gave you like this most like insane fist pump, yeets the helmet, and then picks it back up.
And then throws the elbow guard off, stops halfway to home, and just walks the rest of the way.
Oh, I didn't even see the rest. I just saw the first.
Was just as bad. Halfway home, daps up Lindor, jersey gets ripped off. Lettuce was a flowing though. Good for Jesse.
It sure was.
It's good for the Winker family right there. That's a lineage of good hair, I think. You're just going to pass that down, you know?
Speaking of passing it down, who are you passing the ball to? Just a little, I texted you before the episode. I just wanted to throw in kind of a little random poll question here because I knew we'd be talking about Skeens. We'd be talking about some other names possibly. So I wanted to get your thoughts as we get closer to the postseason. I wanted to pause at this very moment in time and ask you, as of this very moment, who are three pitchers that you would give the ball to for game one? Another way you could think about this
now.
Another way you could think about this, you're going into a wild card game series in which you know that you're going to end up playing all three games. Who are going to be your three arms that you give the ball to? Any league, any division, whether or not they're in the postseason or not.
That's what I was going to ask, if they're in the hunt or not. Scooble. Scooble's got to be up there for me. Just disgusting. Corbin Burns, I think, is up there for me. I really trust. I do trust. I do trust there.
Do you trust or do you not trust?
I do trust.
You do trust? Okay, good to know.
Do you not trust?
I'll be honest with you. I don't have either of those two on my list. I'll just say that.
I'm just firing from the hip here.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
A whole lot of research that I did. Just still going to fire from the hip.
I mean, I feel like this is a question you could fire from the hip on because it's just this question more so than other polls maybe of this style would be like, I think this one is more top of the head, you know, like some of the majority of these names I feel like should be there because they're names that we've talked about throughout the course of the season because of how well they've done. Majority of them.
I don't know, like Brunel Blanco.
Wow.
How do you feel about that?
I'd probably go Framber if we're snagging a Stroh's arm.
I think there's names like I don't know where numbers are at, but like I don't like a Zach Wheeler to me is like a I don't have any hesitation there. I don't know how he's doing this year compared to some of these other names, but
I mean he's in the Cy Young conversation, but yeah.
Sure.
In fact, he's behind for a lot of people's list, he's behind Chris Sale and Chris Sale only. Some people he's ahead of Chris Sale.
Chris Sale's probably an oversight, I think, yeah.
I don't know though. Postseason,
that's
trash.
Bit of a conversation.
He's got an ERA in the postseason north of 6, I believe, and a WHIP near 1.5. Not ideal. My list.
You did say right now, though.
I know, but his postseason numbers are just so bad that I just can't even ignore them.
You would know.
And yes, I did say right now, but I'm like, you can take those kinds of things into account, but I'm just saying, like, pretend like as if the season ended today. Like if we're going right now, this very moment, who are you giving the ball to?
Okay. Here it is. You ready? My final three, final answer for $1 million. Because that's what this is worth, right?
If you get the list right, you win $1 million. Correct.
I thought I saw that in the fine print. Give me Zach Wheeler. Give me Tarek Skubal. Give me Dylan Cease. Those three right now. Let's go.
Explain to me your Dylan Cease pick here briefly before we get to my list.
I don't have any explanation for it.
Is there
Mustache.
something? Well, joking aside, I was running through a list of names too, and that name
He is up and down a little bit.
It piqued my interest a little bit, but is there a guy? Because you and I are both like big, make the pick from the gut kind of guys. Like there has to be something there. I don't know if Dylan Cease for me has that it factor. For me, at least, he may very well have whatever it is, but in terms of a top three, I don't know if he's making that list for me.
Yeah. I don't know. Three's a tough spot, but I think I did win the $1 million. So
I don't know. For my list, I'm taking Zach Wheeler. And just based on how he pitches in the second half alone, respectable playoff numbers. I looked them up just to confirm.
Snelly.
Blake Snell. And you ready for this? For no other reason, I mean, the fact he's fantastic pitcher. But he's got that I'm going to shove it up your rear mentality.
I think I know this answer.
Who do you think I'm going with?
Nate Eovaldi.
Not even close.
No?
Name we've already touched on this episode. I'm giving the ball to Paul Skeens.
Really?
You want to talk about you want to talk about a kid that is so just here.
Yeah.
None of this, just here.
Yeah.
For no other for no reason other than that, I'm giving the ball to Paul Skeens because the guy that mentally he just seems dialed in. Like he does not give up a pitch. Mm-hmm. He does not roll over for a single pitch. He is dialed in every single pitch. That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
Lastly here, self-control. We're going to limit ourselves to the backyard baseball talk. We're going to keep it minimal here before we get out of here because I know you got to get going. Remind me again, you're not a big backyard baseball guy, right?
No, I love backyard baseball.
We've talked about this before. I thought you said you hadn't played it necessarily a whole bunch.
No. Like I don't have like the computer game. I don't have the disc. I don't even know where you can play it now.
No, I'm saying like back in the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I played it at your house. We never had a computer, so I had to go to your house.
True.
I don't know. Yeah.
But you're like familiar with. Well, no. Oh, I know what it was because I think one of the off-season episodes we did.
You said like let's like draft an all team.
That's what it was.
Like I don't know if I could pull that out.
I don't know if I'm really familiar with the guy with the
enough of
the players on the list.
Yeah.
Let me just say, I kind of already alluded to it right off the jump, but I am so pumped.
Give me the details. I need to know more. Where can I access this? Is it an app? Do I need to go get something?
I'm guessing. I think it's going to be available on computer. I think it's going to be basically any platform. I would think it's going to be available. Like they're going to repurpose it, reformat it, whatever they got to do to make it playable on any of these.
But it's supposed to play similar to the way it used to play, right?
That's the key. Because if you may not remember this, but there for a minute, once the classic backyard sports fell off, they went into like the 3D characters and it just was trash.
Yeah.
But they have alluded, or they have made it clear rather, that when they revive the franchise again, they're going back to like the 90s, early 2000s feel.
Hang on.
Which is going to be perfect.
90% sure I've got my Game Boy right here. Hang on. Hang tight.
I
just found it. And I think I have the Game Boy game.
I'm going, well, while he does that, I'm going to continue my thoughts on the matter. So I need to know as soon, like as soon as somebody finds out or hears one way or another, whether or not, open it up, find out, or let me know if you got it. I just on the floor, just shatters into 1,000 pieces.
I'm looking at The Hobbit, Madden 2004.
Hold on, I got to finish my thought. I need to know if we're going to be able to play like online. If you can play backyard baseball online, game over. It's done. It's a wrap. You will never see me again. Because if you can play backyard baseball online on the Switch, as I mentioned, proud owner of a Switch now, I'm out. You'll never see me again. I'll never see the light of day. It's over.
Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 3.
You got the backyard baseball though?
I don't know. It could be in the Game Boy, so please hold. I got lotion fingers right now, so
let's just leave it at that. I don't need any clarification or
Super Mario Bros. That's a big
There
time.
you go. That's a classic.
It's not in here. Someone took
Tough.
it. Someone stole it for sure.
I don't know.
Really
Hold on.
empty.
Oh, okay. It's an SP. I was gonna say I don't think if that was a color, it didn't get
I had
introduced
that.
until the Game Boy
think-
Advance.
I think I took it from somebody. I don't know. That's crazy. I swore I had it. It's really disappointing. Now it's like $800 on eBay. Fine, I'm
It's
sure.
insane. Just kind of a random thought here. I did put out a tweet the other day of my top 9 in backyard baseball. It's up for debate. I mean, it's really not a debate. I think I pretty much nailed this top 9. Actually, it is in particular order. I got Pablo Sanchez as my top pick. I'm going Pete Wheeler number 2, Keisha Phillips number 3 for the bop. She rakes.
Keisha, yeah, she dropped bombs.
She could mash. Ahmed Khan for the same reason. I'm very offensive oriented in backyard baseball, as you should be. For people, I gotta have a short up defense. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Nobody cares about defense in backyard baseball.
yeah.
Ahmed Khan, Mikey Thomas at 5, Jocinda Smith at 6.
This is where I'm lost. You know, I don't remember anything.
Mikey Thomas had that telephone pole of a bat, if you recall, just mashed nuke after nuke after nuke, and then he'd have, I think he had like a snot bubble was like his thing. It's kind of weird.
Oh yeah, that does ring bells.
Kind of wild. Jocinda Smith 6, Stephanie Morgan at 7, Amir Khan, Ahmed's brother, at 8, and on the bump I've got Angela Del Vecchio.
I don't hate that. I don't know a lot of it, but I don't hate it.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. You got to get out of here.
I gotta go.
All right.
We have important places to be. Important people to see. Not that important, actually. It's just a work thing. I won $1 million today. That's big news. I'd like to thank, obviously, my parents. Big part of it. And all the research that I put in today. So don't go station curveballs, you know?
Weekend series to watch. Check out the Astros versus the O's. Good pitching matchups, decent pitching matchups. I'll even be there hopefully on Saturday. So if you're going to be in Baltimore, let me know, and I'll most likely be at the game on Saturday versus the Stros. We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.